Hello, welcome back. Episode 7 of No Country for Old Pens. We are at the end of the 21-22 season and getting ready to do closeout. If you remember, we had a rash of injuries down the stretch and missed the playoffs for the second straight year on the last day of the season. And in fact, it took it to a tiebreak with Philadelphia, but ended up losing. The minor league team did make the playoffs, but, not sure I care a whole lot about that. Before I get started, I wanted to check the record book. This was it came about because of Crosby in real life hitting the 1,000 game mark. I wanted to kind of see where Sid's goals and stuff were career wise. And actually, the other thing I wanted to briefly check was how Giordano did for us. All right, so Crosby's got 1448 points. And he passed the 500 goals mark early in the season. So since he had 49 goals, he would have passed it with one of his first goals of the season. So but all right, interesting. So let's go back to Giordano really quickly. I just want to rub some more salt in my wounds and see how he did for me after the trade. 20 goals, 20 games, 2 goals, 8 assists, 10 points. Over the course of the season, that's 10 goals and 8 times 4, 32 assists. It's not terrible, but if that's that, but he also caused the salary cap problems that made our situation worse, so hard to not feel a little bit annoyed at him. But, some of that's not his fault. I should probably have kept $1 million in reserve. But at any rate, let's get going. Into the off season. Let's begin our sim. Whatever, best lines during the off season, I don't care. NHL season's complete. Rubbing a little more salt in my wounds with all my injured players. Let's stop the simulation and see how things are doing in the... Oh, our minor league team actually won its first round series. That's... So let's see, they did win, loss, win. So they won it in 4 games. And they're going to play Hershey and the Sound Tigers, the Bridgeport Sound Tigers in the first round, and they won that 3-1, and they're going to play Hershey in the second round. Okay. What am I doing? And they won their second round, too. That was... One, two, three, 4-2. They won the first 3, lost 2, and then won Game 6 to take the series. And now it's going to be the Syracuse Crunch in round 3. Actually, let's do the calendar method. Let's sim out to a point at which the NHL playoffs ought to also be completed. So that's like the 15th or so. I think everything should be done by then. Man, it looks like the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Pens are going to the Calder Cup Finals. It looks like loss, win, win, win. So up 3, and then took it in 5 games. And so they're gonna play San Jose, the Barracudas, I believe, for the Calder. For not caring about my minor league franchise, that's kind of cool that they went to the finals. With no, and it's all with journeymen. They don't have. It's pretty much all, reserve players and not a lot of actual prospects. There's a few prospects on there. Poulin is one of them. Lagarre is one of them. And the Barracuda beat us. And the Washington Capitals won the Stanley Cup. New salary cap, $92 million. So that's another $4 or $5 million. I think it was like 87 last year. And the minimum is almost $71 million. Okay, lottery results. We stay at 15. And the Islanders move up from number 8 to get the number 1 pick. The actual number 1 Montreal will be picking 4th. Okay. Well, I didn't expect us to move up, so that's cool. I guess we're picking there. So, picking at 15. This time we'll take a little look at the draft class. Because I want to see... Picking at 15... We've got... a couple poorly scouted elites. Oh, a complete unknown left wing. I mean, these elites will probably be gone. Because early on in the draft, they tend to go straight rankings. So these guys will probably be gone. But then we've got Binnington and this completely unscouted... Can I get a scouting report on him really quick? Or is their season over? I have to get somebody into... Extra Liga really quick. So, I'll see if I can do that really quick. And then, 15 plus 31 is like 47-ish range for my second round pick. Just see what I might be picking around here. Petri Kultanen. He's in Liga. Compares to Shea Weber. I can't scout him. Anyways. Or if I drop down a few spots underneath, I got a couple other sort of scouted elites down there. Okay, so I got some guys I could take at that second round pick. Let me see if I can try to get a scouting report on... Except... Let's see. And Marlowe finally hangs him up, as does Chara, Braden Coburn, Alexander Steen, Andy Green, Blake Como, UC Jokinen, David Backus, Andrew Ladd, Polak, I don't know, McLeod, Reeves, Ryan Reeves, salute to the former Penn, Jay Beagle, Boychuk, Mark Mathot, Alsner, Molson, Bernier, Korpikoski, Hunwick, and under 500 games or so. Okay. Sorry. And any interesting goalies? Yeah, McElhenney at 267 games is the most interesting it gets. So not a lot of interesting goalie retirements. And Patrick Marleau goes on to coach it for the Blues. And Andrew Ladd goes on to scout for the Islanders. All right, do I have any... Right now, the only thing I care is any of my guys retire. And no Penguins. And no minor league Penguins. All right. Oops, I think I may have just missed the draft interviews. All right, well, that didn't go quite high. Once again, I simmed a little too far, and it didn't. I think I did that last year too, and it didn't go quite high once. So let's go back and look at the playoffs and the awards real quick, just to finish out the previous season. And it is the Washington Capitals beating the Winnipeg Jets in 7. Washington's path was 4-2 over Philly, 4-1 over the Rangers, 4-3 over Buffalo, 4-3 over the Jets. On the west side, Winnipeg went through Minnesota 4-1, Colorado 4-2, Oilers 4-3. I always kind of like that symmetry of like going 5 games, 6 games, 7 games. That's the only thing better would be 4 games, 5 games, 6 games, 7 games, but that's all right. So there's your the Caps win a Stanley Cup. As a Penguins fan, I am going to pretend I'm not annoyed, but I am. The Capitals, of course, win the Cup. We know this. Individual awards: Sidney Crosby with the Ross Trophy, but that's, of course, one of the automatic ones. But it's still hardware. McKinnon wins the Hart. The Norris goes to Carlson for the second year in a row. The Lady Bing to Carlson for the second year in a row. Oliver Wahlstrom wins the Calder. Ovechkin, Conn Smythe, playoff MVP. Vezina goes to Hellebuck. The Jennings to Jordan Binnington. That's the mathematical one. The goalie for the team with the lowest goals against. Joel Edmondson with the Masterson. C. Wheel of Minnesota is the coach, wins the coaching award. Ryan O'Reilly, his second straight Selke. Ted Lindsay with the McKinnon. McKinnon with the Ted Lindsay. He has an award named after him now. The Richard, of course, that's an automatic one. That goes to Matthews for winning the goal-scoring race. And so Sidney Crosby gets the Art Ross, but no other hardware. That's whatever. I didn't expect him to win any of the big ones, but okay. So there's our awards and playoffs. Now, I think I am going to tweak my trading block a little bit. One thing I've sort of noticed about my team is that I've got a lot of expensive defensemen in the low 80s. And I can sit here and complain about how maybe some of them should be rated higher, but the bottom line is I got a bunch of 81s that are costing me like $4 million a year. So I think my general vibe is I'm going to probably invest in my defense in this coming year in the draft, assuming I have some money to spend. So let's at least put those guys on the block. I may not trade it. I mean, I can get a trade for any of them, but I might want to move somebody just to open up some cap space. So Marino, Pedersen, and Montour I just signed, so maybe I'll keep him a little longer. I'd put Dumoulin on there, but I'm not sure how much the room there is for a 30-year-old. Put Rasmus Anderson at least through the draft, just see if anything happens. And okay, I guess we're going to the draft. And I don't especially feel the need to move up. Oh, first let's look really quick at the what picks I have, because I have a few extra picks from trades. So I have my first and second, Florida's second. I have 3 in the third round, mine, Boston, and San Jose. And then I have a fourth, a fifth, and a sixth, and no 7th this year. So, okay, that's not bad. I can work with that. So, pick 115 will be our first. Unless I feel strongly that I need to move up, and So Central Scouting would put 15 there with Roy Calico, who I don't have any scouting on. Tim Appleby. with a Theo Fleury style, but he's only top 6, whereas Binnington right below him also has a Theo Fleury style, but I've got better scouting that says he actually may be an elite. And then of course I forgot to go get information on Saleh, which is a shame because that that A+ competition is kind of tempting, but he only had 3 goals and 2 assists. So, all right, well let's sim out to my pick. Let's see what's available. And I think I'm going to have to go with the guy who's at least semi-scouted. I think I'm going to have to go with Binnington. So, Andrew Binnington, my first round pick since I didn't have one last year. Alright, Binnington it is. So, sim out. There's not a lot of controversy on my way to round 2, so I'll go out to round 2. Now here's where things get a little bit interesting. There's elites to be had, but some of them may be gone by the time I make my second pick. Oh, somebody jumped up and grabbed my the guy that I was thinking of taking. Shoot. Okay. That throws a little bit of a wrench in things. So I got some poorly scouted elites here. I got these 2 guys at their spot, but they're not scouted. So I could go in blind with this Barkov kid. This guy's an AHL. Or I could take a reach on Ville Calvosari, a 6'3" center. Or Ilya Grachev, 6'5". Well, he's a clunky Michael Backlund comp. He's kind of a clunky boy, though. He's kind of slow and not that great. I think I'll go with this Calvosari guy. Off to pick 55. This is the one from Florida. Okay, a well-scouted Nicholas Dockel, a well-scouted defenseman. Pro mentality. I mean, injury-prone is the big knock on him, but compared to this guy who's got 1 bar of scouting, and also he's 5'9", which is kind of tiny, I think I'm going to go with the guy who's 3 out of the 4 bars. So, Dockel's going to get the next pick. So now I have 3 picks in the 3rd round. They're all in the second half of the round, but so I'll have 3 picks in fairly rapid succession. So let's get to pick 77. Let's take a look at the board for all 3. So at slot, these guys aren't that, but McKinley, fully scouted as a top 6 forward. So depending on what else is in the next 10 or 12 picks, he might be one of them because he is fully scouted. Like, we got an elite, but Sergei Nazarov is only 2 bars of elite. This guy Ludman's only 1 bar of elite. He's a grinder. He's starting goalie, but again 1 bar. Now we're starting to get into guys that would be there in the 4th round. So I think Quentin McKinley is actually going to be one of the 3 picks, just because he's a little more locked in. But I'm going to flip it around. I'm going to go Nazarov with this. Or no, I better actually take them at their various slots. So McKinley gets the pick the first time. And Nazarov got taken. Shoot. Do you want to maybe consider moving down? Because I got an elite grinder, and then not much of anything. Let me offer what the let me see if anyone wants this pick. The Ducks will give me a 4th and a 5th next year, as will Buffalo. Zavgrodny and a 7th this year. Puistola and a 7th. Calgary will give me a 4th and a 5th. Okay, 4th and a 5th. That's 2 4ths next year. 4th and a 5th. The 4th and a 5th next year seems to be the most common package for this pick. Edmonton will give me a 4th this year and a 5th next year. I think I'll take the 2 4s. I mean, just because 4s are better than 5s. So that was... Oh, there's still for... The deals with prospects haven't been anything interesting so far. A 3 and a 5 next year. 3 and a 6. Shusko and a 7. Okay. 4 and a 5. 4 and a 5. Kajovic. 4 and a 5. 3 and a 5. I'll go with one of the 3 of the 5 picks. Rangers are pretty good. Flyers have been causing me much pain recently. Vegas? Take their pick? Yeah, let's do this one. So we'll move out of this pick and get a couple picks for next year. Since I don't really have anybody I was definitely sold on. And then... I mean... Elite grinder. I mean, give him a shot. I don't know what that gets you exactly, but what the heck. And then into the 4th round. Okay, we got a couple elites to choose from here. We got one with 2 bars of scouting, Maxim Kasparaitis, and then Valery Yakupov. I've got a lot of centers already, and also the Pens love Darius Kasparaitis. Pens fans love Darius Kasparaitis, so maybe I should go get his fake kid or whatever. I don't know. So Maxim Kasparaitis will be our pick. Good to have a Kasparaitis on the team again. Let's just do that total name value. Okay. On the page, we got a starting goaltender with 2 bars, a top 6 forward with 3 bars. You know, none of my goalies so far, all my prospect goalies are showing fringe starters, so let's keep moving goalies through the system. So Tomi Tukio is going to be the next attempt at a goalie. One of these days we'll get one that's good. Okay, this is I think this is our last pick. A bunch of AHL crap and a completely unscouted guy. Wow, that gets bleak. Joey Fast, an elite medium goalie, but he's already 19 years old. So, I mean... That Renwick kid's 20. Oof. Ragnarsson, he's 6'4", he's 18. He's an enforcer, but he's got top 4 showing. Well, I mean, in the 6th round, if you can land a guy who's a dependable player and not a star, that's not a bad pick. So let's go ahead and do Jesper Ragnarsson as my 6th rounder. And I think that's all I had. Yep. So there's our draft class. Binnington is the star there. Decent hopes for the next for Calvasari and Dockel. McKinley's, high floor, low ceiling because he was locked in as a top 6 guy. And then the rest are just your usual assortment of scratch-off tickets that may pan out, may not. So, okay, there's your new crop of pens. Huzzah. And that is where we tend to stop for this time, and because free agency tends to be complicated, and I like kind of giving it its own space. So, as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.